All right, good morning, everyone. Oops, sorry about that. All right, let's start it up. All right, Friday's session in the States was a bit of a non-event, a bit of a flat line across the session for the most part. NASDAQ finishing up small, S&P finishing down small, but the interesting thing obviously was the non-farm payroll, which came in, which is a huge beat. We've had a couple nice data points in a row now. Another thing that was a big beat was the average hourly earnings, which with a rise of 0.3%, I mean, you can't call it a big beat, but when you look at it and you look at what's happened over year, we're looking at a rise of 2.3% in terms of average hourly earnings. And you finally got some real pace to the recovery, along with the non-farm payroll, kind of making last month look a little bit more like a blip, and so you're starting to see some. You're starting to see some confidence grow back up. The 10-year has been creeping for weeks. I mean, that only really exacerbated things, taking it to new highs in terms of the yield. And then we're looking at the dollar against all the major currencies out there, but especially against the emerging market crosses, were absolutely decimated. And we're going to see if that continues on out today. That's going to be a really interesting story to watch, to see if there's follow through there. All right, moving on into Asia overnight, we had the Hang Seng and the Shanghai up a little bit. Shanghai up very nicely. In fact, highest level since 2008. Export number that beat expectations. The Hang Seng only up modestly. Nikkei actually not up, which is incredibly surprising to me with the weaker yen after Friday's non-farm payrolls. But the rest of the markets are absolutely non-event. But we're watching one thing and one thing only at this moment. That's Treasury yields. That's yields across the board. I think even here locally, guys are watching yields. The interest rate sensitives have been the most volatile of late on the back of the movements on the yields. Okay, a lot of stocks going ex-div today. We've got ARLs, BAWs, CMLs, JSE, PPC, PIK, SPP, and TSGs. So keep an eye on that. There's a lot more majors that have divvies today, so pay attention to that on the open. If you're looking to play any of them, some of the discounts might not be as exciting as you think. All right, moving on into market data. We had Japanese GDP this morning, which is better than expected. We also had the annualized GDP number, which is really solid. We got industrial production out of Germany, and then we've got the Chinese trade balance, which is also higher than expected. Okay, let's get into the maps. First thing that we're going to look at this morning is the ALSI. So after having some major moves, obviously, we managed to hang in on this level here down at 45,500 after Thursday's huge reversal. Friday's huge reversal. We traded below this at the open, literally basically opened at the lows and closed at the highs. That's I think in my mind, I think you can jump out there, and I think you can call this a key reversal. Reason why, I think that this downtrend has been long enough. It's been about a month and a half, this downtrend from the tops, that you're able to call this a key reverse. Key reversal is market, trading on the same trend side to a new low in this case, and then reversing up and taking out the previous day's highs. We did that on Friday, and I think you got to pay attention to that this morning. There's obviously some big selling here this morning. I don't know if that has to do more with what's happening in Turkey this morning, opening up down 8% on the back of their elections, but I think that has very little to do with us really, and we'll have to see if we can have some follow through on the back of this key reversal. I think getting back above 46,000 is key. I think there's a lot of there's some gamma around here going into closeout the next couple of weeks, and some strikes that have been put into play. Somewhere between, call it 45,000 and 46,000. So just keep that in mind. All right, first one we're going to look at in terms of single stock stuff is AVI. And you see here that we had a nice reversal on Friday, and it comes on the back of some sort of support in the 200-day moving average. We'd kind of dropped horizontal support, but we got back up right up to it, I think, in the close, and we bounced off the 200-day. So I think, the bull picture here may still look a little bit intact. I'd like to see it up above 78, make you feel a little bit more comfortable. So watch this level very closely here over the next session or two. We get back above 78, this thing could really probably trade to the upside nicely. Sunlum also, we had a couple nice reversal days here off of Thursday and Friday session and their guidance. What I think is interesting here, there's a couple levels to look at, one being 72, other being about 73. Those are going to be our levels of resistance. If we continue to push back to the upside, that's where you want to watch for. That's probably what our target's going to be in the near term on a reversal here in Sunlum. The next one we'll look at is Sasol, and Sasol has been really back and forth. I mean, got a big bump up on Friday, I think, because of the weakness in the rand, and it's really just hanging in there on this little rising channel. You can see that we continue to bounce once again on Friday, bouncing nicely off of support here in this rising channel. And it's kind of almost, it's been a real consistent downtrend of late, kind of almost popping out of the top here. So just watch. We could have a few more days of upside here, especially with the rand blowing the way that it has, and could, especially if the index starts to get going. Next one we'll look at is CFR. I'm going to drag this thing out a little bit, but you know how important the 105 level is. We've shown it several times. I'll shorten this up. You can see here we're starting to look a little bit head and shoulder-ish. I mean, I don't think it's convincing by any means, but if we do drop 105, we're going to be looking down to about $100. If we start to reverse here, I think we're going to need to take out the shoulder line here. We got to get above maybe 106.50, 107 to move to the upside. And then the last one that we'll look at this morning is Old Mutual. You can see here a nice correction off the top, maybe about 10% in Old Mutual, not as much as some of the others. But at $40, a major level here. This thing could be setting us up for a little bit of a head and shoulder, but I think for the meantime, target up to about 42. If 40 drops, then we'll be looking down to about 200-day moving average and closer to 36 and change, maybe even 37. That's it for today, guys. Good luck out there. I just figured the wrong price. Idiot.